Ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Hi. What are we doing? Stuff.
We're trying to make paper
Hey,
look
dudes.
old.
That's right. Hey, dudes. John here, and I got Liam. That's right. We're gonna make a treasure map. That's right. We're gonna make paper look really freaking old. At least we're gonna attempt to do that. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know if this is all going to work or not. I've never done this before. I've seen somebody else do it in a photo. I've never even seen a video on this. I know they exist. I'm just saying I haven't actually watched one. You're going to need a few things in order to do this, though. No, we're going to need...
I'll be like one.
You need a Liam. That's first and foremost. Because if you don't have a Liam, it just doesn't... No, I'm just kidding. Anybody can do this. So I went ahead and I found an image online. And I knocked out the color and I printed it on 2 sheets. So it can be a big map. Now, if you don't want to make a big map, you only want to do it on a standard sheet of paper, you can absolutely do that. But we happen to have some 11 by 17 paper right here. Let me show you. Big sheets of paper. It's basically 2 sheets and then some. It's big. But so you have a few options on doing this. The way I did it was I traced the image. So I went ahead and I took this image. The reason why I printed it in 2 pieces was I taped it to a window, kind of like the one behind me right there, with daylight, with sunlight behind you. It has to be daytime. And then I taped this piece of paper over it, and I went ahead and I traced it with a pencil. You can use a regular number 2 pencil. It doesn't have to be a fancy drafting pencil like I have here. You can use any pencil for that matter. It'll work just fine.
But the better you have, the better it looks.
Yeah, the sharper the pencil, the crisper the lines look. I'll show you the image in just a second. Now, you don't have to trace it. You can simply take this sheet of paper, take the image that you found, and go take it to like a Kinko's, or if your printer happens to be able to print something this large, you can just go ahead and print this directly to the paper. Now, I wanted to modify it and add some custom names to it and stuff, so I wanted to hand draw it myself.
Yeah,
so that's what we did. So like I said, these are just printed on a regular printer, then the wrong way, and then I just traced them over. If you guys want these images in particular, if you guys like these ones, I'll put a link down in the description below to our Pinterest page, and you can just download them for free. I'm not going to charge anything for them. It's just free 99. I found it for free online, and I modified it a little bit, so you guys can do the same thing. The things you're going to need in order to do this, you're going to need some coffee, some hot water, a way to make the coffee, some large pieces of paper, or you can use standard size paper. We're going to use a large 11 by 17 paper. You need a lighter of any kind. It could be a regular little Bic or a Zippo. Some masking tape, a pencil. It could be a regular number 2 pencil. It doesn't have to be a fancy drafting pencil like this. Liam wants to go ahead and draw on it. And a baking tray, a large size baking tray. It could be a small size if you're going to use a smaller piece of paper, but the paper has to be able to fit within the tray. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set that down over here. This is what I traced. I went ahead and traced this really quick. I'm going to show you guys how we tear the edges to make it look a little bit older, and then we're going to make it look even older. You're also going to need a lighter. I have one of these big old long, big old weird things. You don't have to do this part of it. You can simply tear the edges. I just feel it looks a little more... It looks older. That's right. That's right, and that's what we're going for. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to test it on a blank sheet, and you can make blank sheets. You don't have to draw this all out beforehand. You can make blank sheets of old-looking scrolls, and then you can give them to your kids or whomever to go ahead and draw on them, or you can give them out to friends to see if they want to draw something cool on them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off with 1 piece of paper. What are we going to do?
Draw the back.
First, we're going to tear the edges. So I'm going to tear the edges to make it look like it was torn off of a big old roll of paper, as most scrolls were back in the day. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tear this just along the edge. I'm going to pull back ever so slowly, and I'm going to try to rip just like no more than like 3/4 of an inch, and then kind of give it a rough edge on either side. Not the top and not the bottom, just the 2 sides, and you'll see why in just a second. So I'm gonna go ahead and there we go. I pulled off about that much paper, giving us this rough edge. You're welcome to that piece of paper. And I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. Shake it out. Let's go a little bit quicker, and there we go. A little strip. So we got our 2 ends that look like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to roll this up like so. I'm gonna roll it up. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be tight, it doesn't have to be whatever, it just has to be in a nice tube, like here's your diploma. Here's your diploma. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to take my lighter now and I'm gonna light this. Now, make sure if you're using a lighter, you have a parent around, somebody who's old enough to know how to use a lighter, please.
Pencils.
This tends to catch fire fairly quickly, so if you have to put it out, the safest way to do it is a little by little, like this. Little tiny bits like this, and then put it out. And then you may set off the smoke alarm in your house, but trust me, at the end, it's worth it.
All worth it.
Yeah. It's okay. Now I'm burning the other side now, and it's okay if you get some soot from the burning process onto the paper. It just makes it look older. It's not a problem.
On Magikarps.
Magikarp. All right, so that's basically what our paper looks like when it's all done. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll zoom into it and show you guys the paper. Now you have ash everywhere, so you got to be careful with what it is you're doing. A towel is also very well advised for this process. We do happen to have a towel right here. All right, so I went ahead and I did our sample paper. I'm gonna go ahead and do our actual traced treasure map too. I already went ahead and tore these two edges. Now you don't want to burn the two edges. You can if you want to. I want to leave them torn to make them look old on the sides and as if it was burned when it was rolled on two ends. That's the idea behind it, at least. So let's go ahead and burn this one too to make it match that one right there. Now I'm gonna actually, on this one here, I'm gonna put a burn mark right in the center of the corner over here, right on the inside of the paper. So it kind of gives it that little effect of a burned hole right in the middle of it. Okay, so now that we have all this stuff burned, let's go ahead and I'm gonna clean up a little bit and then we'll go ahead and do the staining part. Okay, so now we need our coffee part. We're gonna actually stain our paper. We're gonna go ahead and I went ahead and poured all the coffee that we made earlier into this big old Pyrex dish right here. But I'm gonna go ahead and pour the coffee, not all of it, just enough to cover the bottom of this tray. Let's go ahead and pour that in here. You don't want to put too much because then it becomes hard to lift to dump into the sink later on. So I just wanted just enough. There we go. I'm going to set this, I'll set it over here. And I'm going to try it out with our blank piece first. Piece that doesn't have anything on it. I'm going to see if it takes on any color. I'm going to slide in one corner, or one end of it, right into the paper. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let it sit so it soaks into the paper pretty evenly across the entire thing. So now the paper that should start getting stained with the coffee color. It'll take a minute to do that, just to turn a little bit yellow. But you don't want to leave it in here too long because the paper will start to blister and it'll fall apart. And we don't want that to happen either. The paper is taking on a little bit of color, not a ton of color, only because we haven't left it in there for too long. You can do this process a few times over and over again. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull it out because I don't want to tear it. It's taking on a little bit of color, and I'm going to go ahead and lay it on these towels to dry.
Well, I can see through it.
Yeah, you can see through it when it's wet. And then I'm going to do the same thing with our one that we did our map with right over here. And the reason why we burn it first before we put it in the coffee is because the coffee kind of washes away any of the burn smell. Now, if you don't like the smell of coffee, then it's just too bad. You can find other things you can use. If you mix a bunch of colors of food coloring together, they turn brown as well. So you can add that if you really wanted to, but I'm just using coffee because it's the easiest thing to use and it's readily available in my household. So we gotta wait for this paper to dry in order for me to be able to do anything with it, but it shouldn't take very long. It'll probably take about 30 minutes to an hour's amount of time, and it should be fairly dry and be able to be handled without being torn. Now, if you're not careful lifting the paper out of the water, it will tear very, very easily. Just like a tissue, when a tissue gets wet, paper does the same thing. I can show you with with one of these little strips that we ripped out. If I would go ahead and I soak it in the water, as soon as it hits the water, it becomes fairly easy to tear. If you pull it apart, it just tears really easy. So just be really careful when you're pulling it out of the water. Either have somebody help you out, especially if it's something that you drew and you don't want to tear and you want to be a little more careful with. Make sure somebody helps you pull that out of the liquid before you just try grabbing it and pulling it out. All right, dudes, that's basically the gist of it. There really isn't much to it. It's really, really simple. I'll go ahead and show an image of the dried version of it right over here. We're probably going to hang this up in Liam's room as a cool little treasure map because he wanted something. It's got little iconic spots that are here within town and things that mean stuff to us, like Crystal Mountain is a snowboard park that we happen to go snowboarding at. It's the mountain peak that we listed over here. Like I said before, dudes, if you guys want this artwork, I'll put it up on our down in the description below. You guys can go ahead and download it from our Pinterest link down there. If you guys did like this video, you guys want to see more videos like this, give us a big fat thumbs up. And if you're at all new to this channel, you guys can click that subscribe button. And while you're at it, click the little bell. It turns on notifications. And it lets you dudes and dudettes know when we upload our videos. And until next time, guys, see ya.